Well, tonight I'm going to start working on making a die and a mold for my bridge abutments, and it's going to be really simple design, and you can cast a lot of parts using this silicone rubber and the part you want to cast. You can make your own, so there's a whole ton of different things you can do with making rubber molds and casting and plaster. So what I'm going to be doing is fairly simple, mostly just pretty much a square block, and that I can cut down to size. I'm going to make it oversized so I can cut it down to size and fit it to wherever I need to. For example, this particular bridge pier, I made this mold that I used from a commercially available bridge pier. I can't remember what brand it was. I'm not even sure if I can find it anymore. I did this quite a while ago, but I made the mold and cast this and carved the bricks and painted it and stained it with some acrylic washes, so you get an older style bridge pier. And for more modern concrete cast bridge pier, I made my own die out of plywood, and the reason I went with plywood is because I wanted to get the effect of this pier having been cast in wooden forms, cast in place. So you can see the boards and the grains on there. So that's how I made this mold around this die here. And what I did was I put a little water on the plywood here, and that raised the grain, so it gave this kind of a uneven kind of raised grain. I mean, it looks like it's been cast in a wooden form, because you can see almost the individual boards in there, so to speak. So I kind of like that effect, and I think it'll look a lot nicer, more pronounced when I actually color this, give this a concrete color and do a little weathering. So that's the reason why I made this particular die and mold out of plywood. And I'm going to do a similar thing with the bridge abutments, but instead of plywood, I'm going to make my die out of basswood here, 16-inch basswood. That's probably a little bit more to end scale thickness as far as the thickness of a wood board. Well, right now they probably use plywood to do more modern piers, but I just kind of like this effect. So I'm going to go ahead and this is a bit easier to work with than the plywood, easier to cut. I kind of shaped this using a belt sander, and most people out there don't have belt sanders, so I'm just going to go ahead and use this basswood, and I think that'll work just fine. So let me go ahead, and what I'm going to do is make sure that the bridge abutment is plenty wide enough. I mean, so I want to cut my strips so that they're slightly wider than the width of the bridge itself. So I'll have plenty of leeway as far as what I can carve off the sides, or what kind of angles I want to shape it, and how I'm going to fit it into the foam. So I'm going to make it a little bit oversized. You can always sand or carve off the excess. I'm going to start by measuring this in, let's say, let me think about that. Yeah, it's probably about right. 2-inch strips, that'll be good enough. And actually, come to think of it, a truly modern bridge pier will probably be cast with steel forms and stuff like that, but hey, this is my layout. I want to make it look the way I want to, so It just doesn't seem quite as fun or look quite as cool to me. So, and I'm just going to make the blocks. I make fairly about a ½ inch thick. So let me measure. I'm not going to try to be too accurate because I'm going to be sanding this down some to get this smooth, so but probably a ½ inch thick. And you'll see what I'm doing in just a moment here. Get an idea what's going on. Alright, now all I'm going to do, once I get done cutting all these out, is just glue them together like that. Stack them up. And what I'm probably going to do is cut some of these pieces down the middle and stagger them a little bit to make it look like there's, you know, the boards staggered throughout the form. So that's what I'll be doing. So I'll finish cutting out the rest of these. There, I think this will give me ample leeway in terms of height and width for when I want to shave down the sides or make it narrower at the top and wider at the bottom, or just have it go straight up and down depending on how I decide to fit these abutments into the foam. So I'm going to go ahead and get started gluing these boards together, and I'm going to do, for the sake of time, I'm going to use some crazy glue to glue them together. So you just want to be careful with crazy glue not to get on your fingers and get your fingers glued together. That's the only tricky thing about it. So and what I'm going to do also, go on, is cut these boards, stagger them, so it looks like this was made out of different length boards. I'll take some glue on there and just glue this down like that. I'll just glue this back on here so that there's just a little bit of a gap. Okay, just like that. Hold it down there for a couple of seconds and make sure the pieces fit nice and tightly together. Okay, move on to the next one. These.